Hello and welcome to some more Project Caesar news. This is Tinto Talks number 18, and we're going to be talking about laws. And we have this lovely little man here pointing out all of the laws of this various little kingdom. And Quasimodo here over on the right as well. So, let us jump into laws, but first of all, if you want to keep up to date with everything to do with Project Caesar, then the best place to do that in is right here. So if you want to throw me a sub, you stay informed, I get a sub, it's a win-win. Let's get into today's Dev Diary, which was posted 1 minute ago. Welcome to another Tinto Talks. It's time of the week where we'll be focusing on gathering your helpful feedback on how to shape the secret game with the code name of Project Caesar together. Today we'll get back into politics and discuss how laws function in the game. Sadly, when this is going live, he's on vacation, so I might not be able to reply. Okay, so this happened before, right? Johan was in Sweden, I believe, for one of the Dev Diaries a few weeks ago. And he said as well that he might not be able to reply. But man was so prolific that he still did 5 pages of replies, like, on his own. So I'm not sure how much of this I believe. I'm not going to lie. I feel like he's probably going to reply regardless of the fact that it's his vacation or not. But St. Dave and Pavia, I don't know. Pavia? There's a little accent on the I. Someone tell me how to pronounce this. I'm pretty sure that Pavia is Spanish, so maybe that'll help. Anyway, they're more than happy to reply, of course. We've had various forms of laws in previous grand strategy games, everything from deciding how the upper house in Victoria 2 is composed, to simpler things like decisions the Education Act in EU3 that gave you a permanent bonus. In Project Caesar, what we define as a law is something that has 2 or more policies to choose from, and where you can change the policy for a cost. What that cost is, I guess hopefully we'll find out. Many laws have lots of unique policies that are available for certain tags, religions, cultures, and other unique restrictions. Oh my gosh! Tag-specific flavor, we must complain. Immediately, we can't be having tag-specific flavor. Ah, shocking. Anyway, for administrative laws here, we have feudal administration, the feudal de jure laws, tradition, legal code, civil law, and then royal court customs, aristocratic laws. I imagine there are, obviously, you can choose between different doodads here. 4 different administrative laws here, all for the ideal way to run our country. Nailed it. Enacting a policy for a new law is merely a cost in gold, alright? But changing a policy is far more costly. At a base cost of a 100 stability, it's rather costly. That is huge, considering that's basically 3 stability in EU4 terms, roughly. Because EU4 terms, they had 7 stability points, alright? -3 to +3, including 0. Project Caesar has -100 to +100. So this is like the equivalent of like 2 or 3 stab. It's rather costly, and while a high crown power reduces it, having low crown power, which would be very common in the early part of the game, would increase that cost further. So affected by crown power, just like removing an estate privilege from your estates, is affected by crown power there as well. So high crown power, definitely useful for this kind of administrative stuff. So how do you pass a law then without plunging your country into chaos? Call in the parliament and convince them to approve law changes. How that works in detail we'll talk about when we talk about parliaments. I hope this is next then. It's very awkward, especially for me who has memory-related issues, to have a dev diary talking about an topic, and then something very related to that topic is like 2 or 3 weeks down the line instead of literally the previous week. Hopefully parliaments are next. I want to know about them. Also to take into account is while you immediately will lose the benefits of the previous policy, enacting a new policy takes time. Depending on your administrative efficiency, okay, so we're getting the term back, but please don't assume that this is the exact same modifier with the exact same effects. There has been a few times where this has come up, most recently with development, but also the idea of cores existing at all. People complaining that why do we need the cores now, but completely failing to understand that they are completely different. They have to be completely different to EU4 cores because we don't have admin points to core provinces. So, pretending that, you have a right to complain about things that you have no idea about is weird. Anyway, it takes several years until you reap the full benefits of a +1 tax efficiency, just like in real life. +1%. Oof. For 100 stability, and we're getting +1% after a few years. Wild. Not only countries have laws, many international organizations have laws as well. Where in some of them, it's something like the leader of the emperor. Something like the leader, like the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. Okay, can enact on their own. In some, there are specific countries that can vote on the policy being approved or not, and many more options possible. We'll go into details about these when we talk about specific international organizations. So, at the moment, we're talking about overarching mechanics. Later on, we're going to be talking about individual things, which is, probably the correct way of doing things. So what type of new policies do we have in laws? They're not just modifier stacks like many things in previous games, but they enable and disable mechanics. I like that a lot. They make estates happy or unhappy and have an impact on your societal values. So you get some examples of laws. We have the levy law here. Interesting choice. 2% more of the peasants is a fair bit more than 20% of the nobles, but over time it has an impact over what your military focuses on. So we get inclusive levies. Non-cultural levy size goes up by 20%. Noble levies, 20% here. Peasant levies, plus 2%. So this is, you can choose between one of these. Definitely this is going to bring you the largest army. Probably the better army. This definitely helps in changing culture. If you want to, raise your non-accepted culture pops into an army and then kind of send them into certain doom, that could totally work if that's what you wanted to do. Is it a way to kill nobles more efficiently? No, I don't think this actually... Alright, so on the one hand, seems like a reasonable thing, right? If you wanted to kill your nobles, and that does seem like a reasonable thing to do in certain circumstances. However, I don't think it works in practice, considering every location has a noble amount. Say 10 nobles is what this location should want, and then if those nobles die, peasants, of which there could be thousands, will promote into that noble slot. To kill your nobles, I think what you'd want to do is just destroy buildings that give plus noble amount, not kill them. Maybe that's the wrong way of doing things, but it seems like the more efficient one. Naval doctrines was a concept in EU4, and here it has a new law with lots of different options depending on who you play as. So we can have maintenance down, galleys getting better, merchant power from maritime. Okay. Is it maybe maritime presence and it got cut off? Trade range, ship capture chance, and combat outside own coast plus 10% instead of just a +1. Does this imply a changed combat system? I feel like we're still going to get dice rolls. I really do. Maybe +1 dice roll off own coast is maybe not going to be a thing, though. I don't know. Your legal code has many different options depending on who you play, but as England, you definitely have the important choice. Civil law, common law, or traditional law. And this one being a little bit more grey, I think this is what we're getting as England. So civil law gives a little bit more admin efficiency and some, centralization. Common law, estate satisfaction, and stability investment cost. Okay. Stability investment cost, what are we investing in to increase stability? Or it's a slider, isn't it? If I remember rightly. We can actually look that up. I would like to look that up. Economy makeup, I think, was increasing something, giving you stability. Cost of the court increases, crown power. Stability, yeah, okay, here. So you're paying for stability. So you get 10% more, I guess, per ducat you put in, potentially. And then traditional law, estate satisfaction goes up a little bit, and then you want to decentralize. This would be the one that you want to go with. All right. More efficient government, or more happy estates, or just the traditions. In the later part of the game, the press laws is something you have to decide upon. Monthly progress to communalism. Communalism. and gives you a little bit more literacy. Oh, press is in, like, you know, newspapers. Okay. Free press gives max literacy, lower crown power, progress to individualism, and progress to free subjects. Crazy, okay. And then state press only, progress to serfdom, progress to communalism, and some crown power. That's kind of wild. I feel like this is definitely getting into the realms of, this definitely suits a Victoria-esque game more. Which, I mean, the game will end roughly 1836, so I guess it makes sense. And we know it ends in roughly 1836 because we were told that the game runs approximately 500 years, and, 1337 plus 500, 1837. So everyone's pretty much assuming it's going to be 1836. But, okay, yeah, okay. It is indeed a tough choice. If you go with free press, the burghers might start building these in different towns and cities. The local newspaper giving some max literacy, occupied by the burghers. You can build them in towns, cities. I'm not sure what this one is, or this one. I forget what these are. But the required production method is just paper. No drawbacks, of course, naturally. An example of a religious law about what religion your heirs can belong to. So any religion is some tolerance. The clergy really hate that, though. They despise it. Same religion, the clergy is happy. Tolerance goes up. Heir of same religion is always yes. Same religious group. The clergy don't like it a little bit. Stability investment cost goes down, though. And heir would be in the same religious group. So, okay, makes sense. Speaking of heirs, the succession law mechanic is not technically a law, but it uses another mechanic primarily because we want to always ensure that it's valid and enforcing a country to always have one. This special law is very much dependent on government type. There are lots of unique ones, like the papal conclave, where the pope dies, the cardinals gather to debate who'll be the new pope. This can be quick, but sometimes it may take several years. That's really cool. When the pope dies, you're not just instantly going to get a new pope. I really like that. That's much more historically accurate than EU4 has. Different election methods for republics, and of course the old classic Salic and semi-Salic laws as some of the options for monarchies. So, Salic law, the ruler is the oldest male child of the previous ruler. Female children can never inherit nor transfer the right to the throne to their own sons. So this is what France had. That's why we've got French people down here. Eligibility rules through siblings of ruler, allow children of male, current ruler is ignored, allows for estates nobility. And then you get score for male plus 100, score per years of age plus 1. Okay. Okay, so if you're male, you get plus 100 ranking. Then every year you get plus 1. So if you're a 36-year-old male, you have a score of 136. Makes sense. I imagine, though, that there will be something that makes a character closer in line get more score that isn't shown here. Otherwise, Philippe would not be ahead of Charles based purely on how old they both look. Difference on view of this will never cause any wars, I'm sure. Yeah, no, never at all. For all of you that like to modify games, all of these are 100% controlled from the thing. From the magic thing that the magic men, also known as modders, tinker with, is what I'm assuming. Next week, we'll talk about ages and institutions. Oh my gosh, yes, perfect. I say perfect, but I did kind of want parliaments. But ages and institutions is another thing that people have been like, why are these coming back? I didn't like these. We need to not have these. And, they might be completely different. They might be absolutely completely different. So, hold your horses, is what I would say. Thoughts on laws? I think that this is definitely going a lot further into allowing the player to customize the internal workings of their country far more than EU4 ever was capable of allowing, right? We've got 4 different administrative laws, 3 different religious laws, and then there's more afterwards. Like there's levy type laws, there's fleet type laws. press laws. Like, there is a lot here to tinker with, far more than the, 10, 13, 15 maybe, government reforms that you pass over the course of a game. This is definitely dipping very heavily into a more Victoria style of internal management. And what I hope is that it does make sense to change over time what is more impactful, right? And I feel like it is, because of this one right here, the levy law. Interesting choice. Early on, I think peasant levies is probably going to be the best one to go for. I think after a certain amount of time, though, it might not make sense, and it won't be the best option, because you want to be transitioning out of levies into standing armies. I hope that's true for more things than just the levy law, purely because I want it to be the case that I want to tinker with this throughout the game. I don't want to just, like I did, I should say, in Victoria 3, where I would, for the first 15, 20 years of the game, depending on what country I play, maybe a little bit more if it's like Japan, I get the laws that I want, and then I ignore that entire system for the rest of the campaign. Because I've already got what I need. I've got the best laws. I've got the best things. There is objectively good things to choose and objectively bad things to choose, and I've got the best ones, and now I can ignore it for the rest of my time playing this campaign. I hope that that's not the case here. That is I think the pitfall, the danger. The levy one makes me think that that is not going to be the case, so I'm optimistic. But we'll have to wait and see how that applies to others. I think this relates to a lot of customization in nations, and I am optimistic about it. So I would like to know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I do read all the comments. I respond to quite a few of them, and yeah, it's always good to get your thoughts out there early. I will, of course, be leaving a link to this forum post as well in the description, so make sure to click on that and leave your thoughts on the forums as well. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Click the like button as well, and I will see you on Friday for a map of Russia. Bye-bye.